Hi, boys and girls. Today we're listening to a story about animals of the tropical rainforest habitat. Some of the vocabulary we're going to hear today, we have canopy. The canopy is the top layer of the forest that's formed by branches and leaves at the top of the trees. We're also going to hear the word colonies. Colonies are groups of the same kind of animal or plants that live together. For example, in this photo, you see a colony of ants working together. We will hear the word humid. Humid means having wetness in the air. Maybe you've walked into your bathroom after your mom or your dad or brother and sister took a hot shower and it's kind of foggy in there and it feels wet. That's the feeling of being humid. And last, we will hear the word stalk. Stalk means to follow in a slow, quiet way in order to hunt or catch prey. I want you to think of an animal that might stalk its prey. Today we're going to be traveling to a tropical rainforest, and you can see in our map that this tropical rainforest we're going to is in South America. In this rainforest, it's located close to the equator where it stays warm and wet all year long. The one that we are going to visit is the Amazon rainforest. It covers more than 1.4 billion acres in the following countries: Brazil, Peru, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Bolivia, Suriname, Guinea, and French Guiana. Hello there, Rattenborough, reporting from a fascinating habitat, a habitat that has the greatest variety of plants and animals of any habitat on Earth. Welcome to the tropical rainforest. Tropical places are wet and warm. A rainforest is a thick forest of plants that stay green year-round, so a tropical rainforest is a warm, wet, thick forest of plants that stay green all year round. There are tropical rainforests in many places all around the world close to the equator, but the one we're visiting is called the Amazon rainforest. It is in South America, and it's the largest tropical rainforest on Earth. The Amazon rainforest is so dense or thick that a rat like me could easily get lost. The plants in the tropical rainforest are thick because there's so many growing closely together. It's hot and very humid here. The temperature is always very warm, and it rains heavily all year long. Because of the warm temperature and rain, the air feels wet or humid. My fur is feeling very wet and sticky, and it's a good thing that I brought my umbrella. There are between 80 and 240 inches of rainfall here every year. That makes this one of the wettest places you can find on land. Temperate deciduous forests, which you just learned about last time, have broadleaf trees that lose all of their leaves in the fall. The Amazon rainforests also have broadleaf leaves, but the main difference is that most of the trees here stay green all year long. The evergreen trees in this tropical rainforest replace their leaves gradually throughout the year as the leaves age and fall, so that the trees always look green and never have bare branches like trees in the temperate deciduous forest. Because the climate here is the same all year round, plants do not need to slow down for cold winter weather, and the animals that live here always have a good supply of food all year too. Take a look around. The trees in the rainforest are so tall that they grow as tall as a 13-story building. And some grow much taller than that. I'm standing in a tree right now, and as you can see, the trees grow so thickly and so close together here that from above you can only see a canopy of thick green leaves. You can't see the forest floor at all. In a tropical rainforest, the canopy is the top layer of the forest, formed by the branches and the trees on top of the trees. Because the sunlight can't get through the canopy of the leaves, everything under them is really dark. I brought a flashlight to help me see down there. The plants in the Amazon rainforest have adapted to this climate in many ways. Remember, adapted means changed to survive. Because it's so dark in the rainforest under the canopy, most plants have large leaves so they can catch as much light as possible. Many of the plants have waxy leaves with the ends that are tapered, or they get smaller towards the end. So this helps the water to drip off them, like the water running off my umbrella. Many types of vines grow in the rainforest. Vines are climbing plants that grow on trees or wind themselves around the trunks of trees. Many animals use the vines growing among the trees, almost like sidewalks and ladders to cross from one tree to another. The rainforest floor is a very shady place, which means it's a good habitat for mosses and fungi that don't need much sunlight. If you can believe it, there are even some plants that don't need any light to grow at all. They grow on the forest floor and get their energy from the rotting leaves instead of sunlight. I'm way up in a particular type of tree in the Amazon rainforest called the kapok tree. It's so high that you won't be able to see me. The kapok tree is one of the tallest trees around. The kapok has a very long trunk, and its branches and leaves form a canopy over the plants and animals below, making it a good shelter for the animals like birds, snakes, and monkeys. There are also so many different kinds of animals that call the rainforest home. Many types of interesting and colorful birds, frogs, insects, reptiles, and other animals in the trees and other plants of the tropical rainforest. These huge toucans use their large beaks to cut fruit from branches and to eat lizards, as well as other birds. Macaws, which are the kind of parrot, travel in groups, and they use their hooked beaks to break into hard nuts and fruit. And you don't want to get too close to that poisonous arrow frog, which has poisonous skin to protect it from predators. I'm back in the kapok tree, one of the very tallest trees in the forest, to see what kind of animals call this habitat home. Over there, I can see a squirrel monkey. The squirrel monkey is a very friendly little animal, and it shares a lot of things in common with squirrels that live in the temperate deciduous forest. The squirrel monkey is a very small monkey and has very long, thin tail that it helps to balance. It has strong legs that it uses to jump and run, and claws that help it climb up and down trees and vines. In fact, squirrel monkeys are so good at traveling by leaping and running along branches that they hardly ever touch the forest floor. The squirrel monkey is an omnivore. I want you to think, what is an omnivore? That's right, it's an animal that eats both plants and other animals. It eats insects, fruits, and flowers, and spends most of its time during the day moving around the forest to find food. The squirrel monkey has excellent eyesight, which is useful for finding small insects, fruit, and berries growing among the green leaves of the tropical rainforest trees. Squirrel monkeys live in large groups, making it harder for their predators, like eagles and snakes, to get them. Now, this monkey is acting a little strange, and experience has told me that this kind of behavior usually means there's trouble on the way. Aha, yes. Look who's coming. It's some kind of snake. Snakes also tend to eat rats, so I'm going to climb a bit higher and take a look from a distance. Wow, look at the size of this snake. It's a boa constrictor, one of many kinds of snakes that live in the Amazon rainforest. It's a pretty big snake. This one is about 13 feet long. Boas can have a slightly different coloring and patterns on their skin, but they are well camouflaged in the trees. Camouflage in the trees, plants, and vines of the forest. This boa constrictor, like all snakes, is a carnivore. It eats other animals like bats, which are its favorite food. Rodents, yes, rats included, lizards, birds, and even small squirrel monkeys. The boa constrictor is mostly nocturnal, so it comes out to hunt when it's getting dark, like now. Snakes can eat animals that are much bigger than they are. This boa's jaw opens very, very wide so that when it finds an animal to eat, even animals such as birds and squirrels, monkeys, it will be able to swallow it whole. The boa constrictor is not the only carnivore in the rainforest. In fact, it will have to watch out that it doesn't become dinner for a hungry jaguar like this one. Jaguars look a lot like leopards. They have tan fur with dark spots, but they are bigger than leopards, with shorter tails and legs, and bigger heads and paws. This jaguar is about 7 feet long and probably weighs around 200 pounds. Jaguars are very well adapted to living in the rainforest. They have very sensitive hearing and an excellent sense of smell. A jaguar can see very well during the day and at night. All these things can make it easier for it to find and stalk and catch its prey. Remember, stalk means to follow slowly, quietly. in order to hunt and catch its prey. I can barely hear the jaguar moving through the forest. That's because its paws are covered with a very thick fur with pads on the bottom. Because they can travel so quietly, jaguars don't have to run to catch their prey. So instead of having long legs for running, they have short, strong legs that are good for pouncing or suddenly attacking other animals from the ground, from trees, or in the water. A jaguar spends most of the day resting and goes out to hunt at night. It's also very good at climbing trees, which means I should get out of here before it's able to sniff me out. I've moved to the forest floor near the bottom of the kapok tree because there's one last, very interesting animal I want to show you. We'd better hurry, it's getting dark, and I may have to use my flashlight to show you. These are leafcutter ants. These ants burrow underground and make nests in groups called colonies. Different ants in the colony have different responsibilities. There are worker ants, soldier ants, and their queen. The worker ants are traveling to the kapok tree nearby, where they will use its sharp jaws to bite off pieces of the leaves to bring back to the nest. Did you know that ants can carry up to 10 times their own body weight? That's pretty amazing, isn't it? The soldier ants are there to protect the worker ants on their way to and from the nest. These ants spend most of their lives working for food. Nature is amazing, isn't it? Well, it's really quite dark now, and my fur's been sticking to me since we got here, so I think it's time to leave the hot and humid Amazon rainforest. We've learned a lot about this exotic habitat, its climate, and the plants and animals that have their homes here. Now, for somewhere really different.